live. Going live. There we go. It's gone live. Alright guys, right, we're a little bit early, and as normal we will wait to 2000 hours to get onto the chat proper. However, I see there's two of you out there already. Hi guys, hope you're doing well. Could everybody see and hear me okay? Is the light okay, or do you need me to dim it down a little bit in here? Just let me know. Let's see if we get any feedback. I've got 3 in. Evening, John. How you doing? Hope you're doing good, mate. We're good here. This week's been a little bit up and down with the weather. So 1 minute it's extremely hot, next minute it's been raining. But we'll take that. It's good for the grass. Hopefully everybody can see and hear me okay. Steve, yeah. Stefan,
Stephen.
Yeah, Stefan, yeah.
Stephen.
Hello, hope you're all well. Stephen, it's all right. Excuse this guy because I can hardly spell, let alone write. If I get anybody's name wrong, I apologise now. Dyslexia doesn't help. We're all good. Heat's broke a little bit out there for you, John. Excellent, excellent. Evening, Jace. Hope you're all good. Cheers.
Good evening, John, Stephen, Jason, and Tracy, and Steve. Because tonight I'm here. I'm hiding, but I'm here to help Mike out, and I've got my rhubarb cider.
Yeah, she's on the rhubarb cider tonight, sat next to me, my lovely wife. She doesn't want to be on camera, which is fine, but you'll hear her in the background, and you may be able to encourage her at a later date. So again, she's going to be going through the comments for me because occasionally I miss things. So if anybody's got a question, they fire it up. She'll write it out on a note. Right, slap her on the side of the ear, here you go. And that way I don't miss anybody. So we got a beat round here. So God, I hope everybody's doing great out there. I hope everybody's having a great time. So TJB, that's I'm going to know you from now on. TJB, right? So yeah, we're waffling on. So this week's been a crazy week, which I'll get into in a bit, and I've got another crazy week coming up. So yeah, we'll fire into that. So, and I will explain about the video coming up. Yes, Jace, from your experience, she doesn't need encouraging. Jace, are you back or are you still up there, mate? Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. She's on the rhubarb cider. Right, good. All right, so I've got to try and hold everything back until 2000 hours because I've been told off about it before now. Because apparently I get started way too early and people feel they're missing things. So yeah, well, we go. Be barreling on.
It's rather lush.
Yeah, it's rather good. Karis loves rhubarb. A rhubarb cider is like heaven to her. Me? It's the devil's own vegetable fruit, whatever you want to call it. You're back tomorrow, Jason. You're watching this wherever you are. Fantastic. I hope you're all having a good time, and give my love and regards to everybody up there. I hope it's all gone well for you. I see that the rain and thunderstorms were bad up there. Yeah, let's hope it's not too bad this week. There we go. Where we go. Right. Excuse me. Get rid of the gum. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. 3 minutes to go, and I can light my cigar. I can crack my cider open. Oh, there you go. So, picked up some jerky today. So, I'll be trying this one tonight. This is Jack Link's beef jerky, original flavour, 100% lean beef.
I missed you.
Yeah, missed you. Yeah, so I'm going to get into a bit of that tonight, let you know what I think of that one. Because again, survival foods, jerky, absolutely superb. Biltong, jerky, anything along that lines, fantastic. And it's quite easy to make yourself. And great boiled with some veg. Yeah, you can cook it up, you can have it as it is. You can even put it under the saddle of your horse in a bag and let it be massaged with a little bit of moisture and the warmth of the horse's body, which is, funny enough, it's how the Mongolians did it. They would basically dry out lamb and put hunks of lamb into sealed leather bags. They put that in there with a bit of moisture, and then they put it under the saddle of the horse, so the movement of the horse, and then softened it right up and warmed it slightly. So,
thanks, Tracy. You got us a rhubarb.
So Kaz is going to get supplied with rhubarb. That's going to be her happy. She's going to make rhubarb crumbles. So if you're Tracy, if you're supplying my wife with rhubarb for rhubarb crumbles, coffee cake time. It's a deal. Anyhow, let's get on with it. Let's get on with 2 minutes to go. Come on. Let's see. What have we been going? Right, so I put a video up earlier in this week wishing everybody happy Independence Day over there in the States, and I hope you all had an absolutely awesome time. I've only had one person who mentioned that it may be a bit risque of me discussing the tea, but however, I think you guys have got a good enough sense of humour to deal with that one. Looks like I've just scored myself a coffee cake. Excellent. I'll have some of that. And I've got a treat for Jace when he comes back. Jace, I've got you a present. In actual fact, I've got a minute to go. I might just dive downstairs and grab it quick now. We'll be back in a second. I'll keep you in the time.
What's supposed to be?
Yeah, sorry about that. It's a bit rude of me. I do admit. So, Jace, as you're aware, the Isle of Wight is full of mythical creatures, gnomes included, and I found that one who looks remarkably like somebody I know.
Flip-flops.
So I got you that one, Jace. That's Ivan. Ian, hi, mate.
Hi, Ian.
Right, Ian. So your spirit burner's too small for it, or too small. I won't do up any tricks you can offer. Spirit's too small. Bugger, that's annoying. The only thing I can suggest, mate, hang tough. Buenos tardes to you too, amigo. The only thing I can suggest there, Ian, is possibly making something underneath it to raise it up. So obviously it's going to sit inside you. That's an awkward one. Right, I'll have a play on that this week when I get some spare time. Right.
That's okay, Ian. Hi, Hang Tough, and hi, Jim.
Right, so there we go. 2 minutes, 200 hours and 1 minute. So we're into it. Guys, as usual, as per tradition, I'm going to crack my cider open and I'm going to spark up the cigar. Tonight's cider of choice is again the Merry Down. Okay, that's a Merry Down Sweet, and that is 6.8%. It's been in the fridge for 3 or 4 days, and Kaz is on the Rosy Pig Cloudy Rhubarb Cider. So if you hear any giggling from the other side there later on, you know what that's caused that.
Evening, Rick.
Evening, Rick. How you doing, my friend? Right, let's crack this open. Get this started. I've been looking forward to this, I tell you now. I've had a hell of a week. It's been crazy. There we go. And I've had a bit of an adventure this week. So, cheers to you all, wherever you are in this world. May you have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. Oh, that's going down well. All right. And as usual, put my usual comment out there. To those of you that don't smoke, yeah, apologise. But it's Social Sunday. So I'm going to crack on with my cigar. Oh, that's good. So this week, what I've been up to. So I had to dive over to the Isle of Wight, see my mum, give my mum a hand. Yeah, I'm not going to go into it too much because my mum's a very, very private person. But yeah, she's her husband is not very well, shall we say, and she's been quite elderly, although quite a spirited individual. Occasionally struggles, and I don't have to. I go over and I help her out, which entails me driving the 50 miles from my house to Portsmouth Harbour and jumping on the world's most expensive ferry. Wonderful, you'd say. The world's most expensive ferry per mile. Yeah, yes, 100 or over £100 to get a return ferry across the Solent, okay, which is 2 or 3 miles, I believe. It's not far at all. Absolutely ridiculous. And the ferry itself, grotty. I wasn't impressed at all. Yeah.
Evening, Lee.
If you wanted a cup of tea, cup of coffee, you had to have a credit card to do it. That tells you a secret about this world, doesn't it? It tells you where it's going. Credit card for tea and coffee. Wonderful. They don't accept cash. So I took my own and I sat there with my flask, swigging on my coffee, glaring at them in the catering department. So yeah, went over there, helped my mum out, and a drive around on the island, which again is an experience. Little tiny country roads, and everybody that's lived on the Isle of Wight for more than 5 years seems to believe that they've invented their own rules to the road. And it was interesting to find out that there's pretty much one traffic car over there on a regular basis, and it has to come over from the mainland. So that's a bit strange. Yeah, so there I was over on the Isle of Wight, sorting that out. I did a bit of gardening for her and that. It was a good time, but it led me to thinking about travel, ferries, again, survival situations. So, are you better off in a little tiny isolated community? Are you better off on a mainland, or in an area where you can gain access to other people? I suppose that all depends on the scenario, doesn't it? If you look at a civil unrest scenario, I suppose a small isolated community that will work together stands a better chance of getting through it. And possibly the same in an isolationist situation, i.e., powered down, getting trapped by weather or whatever. But in other ways, it's access to supplies, access to equipment, access to medical services. So if you're on a mainland, you can always get to a hospital, or you can always evacuate to another area pretty easily, or in theory, pretty easily, all the time that your transport's working. So that's another thing to think about in your survival world, or your survival when you're prepping, planning, how you think where you are. How can I adapt? Can I trust the neighbours? Can I trust people around me? Evening, Matt. Sorry I've been so busy this week, mate. It's been a nightmare week. Yeah, so there we go. So we're running ragged there. So have a quick look back through the text. Productive text. Yeah, crumble. Oh, make him a crumble. Lee, I haven't missed anybody. Lee's there. Lee, Caroline, Tracy, Hampshire, Mac, Hangtops. Yeah. So that's like my week's gone. And I got back Friday night. Got myself settled down. Saturday, I knocked out a quick video, which will be coming up for you guys this Thursday. Because I was chatting away to somebody and they said, do you realise you can light fires with green nettles from a flint? Hi John, how you doing, mate? So I thought I'd give it a go. So I've done a video on that. I'm not going to say too much about it because it's going to ruin it for you. But yeah, it was an interesting experience. Unfortunately, being a bit tired and a bit sort of say jet lagged, ferry lagged. That's a great word, ferry lagged. The videos turned out to be a bit of a long one, I'm afraid. It's about 39, 40 minutes. But that'll be up for you Thursday nights, 10 o'clock UK time. I'm sorry, 8 o'clock UK time. Yeah, that was a very, very interesting experiment. I would suggest any of you out there that are interested in your bushcraft, your survival techniques, have a look at it and have a look into nettles for firelighting because, yeah, with a bit of practice, it's going to be a handy tool to have. Plus, makes string, plus, you can eat it. You know, it's a good plant.
Wine.
Makes wine, as my wife just pointed out. Yeah, makes tea. Full of one of the things I didn't mention on when I was making the video, I mentioned it's full of vitamins and minerals. It's also got a very high protein count. So again, in a survival situation, it's a plant that has a relatively high protein count. It's going to do you some favours. All helps. Right. Oh, right. Is there anything out there any of you want to ask me? Any questions? Anything you want to see done in the near future? Yes, I'm wearing an American whiskey t-shirt. Do like a bit of bourbon. Yeah, fire it away. Because literally tonight, well, the way it's gone this week, I intended to sit down, plan, write myself out. I normally just write a little board of ideas and that, and I haven't had to do it tonight. So this is completely what I would call a open house. It's fire it in there, fire it up. Let me know. Right, let's get this conversation going. Because you don't want to always know about me. It's yeah. What we got behind me? Have we got anything new I can show you? Not really. I haven't had anything new coming. I've got a new. Hiya, mate. How you doing? FU crew. Excellent, excellent. We're all doing good in this household, and I think everybody else is doing okay. So this week I have ordered. It should come in this week. Law Mice. Hello, mate. I've ordered from Temu. I've ordered a hammock. Okay, so that's coming this week, all the way from China. I want to see if it's a knockoff of one that they were doing on Amazon that's got a fairly good write-up. So again, I'll be going out next week, not this week coming, the week after. Me and Mac will be going out and doing an overnighter, and we'll be doing a hammock camp. So Mac gets a chance to have a crack out in the Snugpack Jungle hammock, and I'm going to be trying this Temu hammock. So it'll either go well or it'll be an absolute disaster. We'll see how it goes. Comms and handheld radios. Right. So depends where you are in the world. Depends what the local licensing is. Whether you can get a ham license and become a ham radio operator. Me personally, I tend to use Zello. It works. You can run that off of most modern mobile phones, and it works exactly the same principle as two-way radio system, and can be multi-linked. So again, it's not limited in range. It's a very, very efficient system. I suggest any of you that are interested in two-way comms between you and a buddy, or even you and home, have a look at it. It does work very, very well. And we use it with the Hampshire 4x4 response that I volunteer with. So again, I can be 100 miles away and controller can get hold of me on that two-way, no problem at all. It's a very, very efficient system. Prior to that, most of it was done on little PMRs, little handheld FM radios. And obviously before that, everybody was using CBs. And I still do have a CB in the Land Rover and still use a CB when I'm working in convoy. Because again, it's a nice, simple, efficient system. It works well. Range isn't fantastic. In the UK, we're limited to FM only. We can't use AM because when CBs became popular here in the 70s, there was a fear that they would cause pacemakers to disrupt and hospital equipment to go wrong. So we we've got limited to FM radios, but they do work. They do work. Yeah, we've also got I've got some window breakers, seatbelt cutters coming. I wanted to have a look at those again from Temu. Dirt cheap. They're either going to be something that I'd say not bad, or they're going to be rubbish. You'd like to see a collab video with me and Simon in the Woods? Yeah, I'd love to do something with Simon. Do think he's a brilliant guy. Do like his stuff, pretty chilled and relaxed. Very, very similar mindset. He does love to be out there. Derek, that's the other point. Yeah, we are sending off the bag to you this week, probably tomorrow. Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, don't worry about the cost, mate. We will get it sent out to you at a later date. Yeah, I might ask you to keep an eye open for something for me to send back. Yeah, we'll work it that way. We'll assist one another in this world. So that bag's coming. That's going to get posted from the UK this week for you, mate.
I'll send you tracking details.
Yeah, we will send you the tracking details. It'd be interesting to see actually how long it takes to get there. Might even have a bit of a bet on that. In fact, there we go. There's the hat is open. Put your bids in. Okie doke. So I'm sending one of these field packs from Farnborough, Hampshire, UK, by Royal Mail to Derek, who is in Oregon, in the US. How long do you reckon it's going to take to get there? Not bothered about the cost. How long do you reckon it's going to take to get there?
Yes, Lee, I bought lots of pouches for myself so far on Temu.
Yeah. Tracy reckons 3 days. I reckon
10.
I reckon 10 days. FUQ 1721.
Yeah.
Lee Michael 2 weeks. Yeah. Be interesting. What? I said, is that pronounced right? What? Yeah.
Dang.
DHL 4 days. Well, we'll see how it goes. We're gonna try and trust the good old trusty Royal Mail.
No, I think we'll use.
No, we're not.
We use DHL.
We'll use DHL or one of the other couriers.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. Snail mail, as we like to call it over here. Yeah, it's yeah.
You might get it in 2027.
Stephen Garrett, 2 years. I'd like to be a bit more precise than that. 2 years, 3 days, 6 hours, 19 minutes, 45 seconds. But yeah, so yeah, it's been an interesting one to see how long it takes to get out there. Easy to send and receive. Oh yeah. And the other thing I'll do, Derek, I don't know if it's the same over there as here when it comes to duties and things like that. It will be marked up as a present for you, mate. There'll be no invoice in the package. It's a present, okay? So if anybody at your end starts saying, oh, you've got to pay duty on it, no, it's a gift, all right? It's a present. I may even put a note in it wishing you a happy birthday or something.
Happy Independence Day.
Happy Independence Day. How's that? Yeah, there we go. There you go. Tracy sends stuff to her daughter in the USA, and it's always been 3 to 4 days. Okay, no. Yeah, that's coming into the UK, Jace. Yeah, coming into the UK.
Good evening, Saturn.
3 days postage and 6 months in. Good evening, Saturn. How are you doing, mate? I hope all's good with you. Right, another thing I'd like to say quickly right now is, guys, yes, Orange Peel does make a good tinder.
Does that work the same as Satsumas?
It does work the same as Satsumas, yeah. Yeah, it's basically it's the oil levels. Anything that has a natural oil in it is going to work as a good tinder. Funny enough, one I did a while back for people on a training day was potato crisps. And again, because they've got such a high calorific rate, you got the starches, and you've got the oils in there where it's fried. Absolutely burns a treat, makes a brilliant fire starter. So if you're bored, sitting there, somebody's got a packet of crisps, whip one of the crisps out and put a cigarette lighter to it. Okay.
Or drop a lighted match into their prawn crackers.
Or drop a lighted match into their prawn crackers if you're feeling a bit mean. Yeah, it does burn well. All moist, can't grumble. Yeah, that sounds like a bit of a. It's been one of them weeks. Yeah. So, and the Boomtown Rats. Oh, and that's the point, guys. If you get a chance, you're on Facebook. Dive over to Hampshire Hog Hunters. Let Mac know that you're here on a social Sunday. Sign yourselves up. That's growing quite nicely, and it's pretty much it's an information centre, right? These are all people that share ideas. These are all people that share information. It's somewhere you can go if you've got a question. We've got lots of experts on there. We've got ex-special forces. We've got maritime survival instructors. We've got all sorts on there. So again, their skill sets way above mine.
I'm going to.
Yeah.
Hello all.
And this is the lovely Kaz. Okay. So very, very shy. But yeah, so there we go. Managed to get on camera. I'm shocked.
I'm as red as my hair now.
All right. Yeah, she's always happy. Always happy. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, so that's the person that basically has given me the encouragement to do this. Okay, my lovely Kaz. We met when we were 19, and I'm 57 now, and we've been together ever since. Through shit and shine, if you want to put it that way. It doesn't matter what the world throws at us, we keep barreling on. She's my rock, my strength.
He's not as good with a catapult as I am.
No, and she's bloody good with a catapult and a frisbee. Funny enough, I once tried to run away from her messing about, and she had a frisbee in her hand and managed to take me out with the frisbee. So, yeah, you're an Australian Aborigine, you might use a boomerang. I got a wife that's lethal with a frisbee. It was like something out of Mad Max. Cheers, mate. Well, there's no secret to it. No secret to it at all. Part of it's luck, part of it's laughing, part of it's love. So that's all it's about. And she's a damn good barmaid. Oh, yes. Yes, very good barmaid.
Thank you. Yes, I can do a 3-leaf shamrock on Guinness.
Yeah, we put shamrock on Guinness. And when she was a barmaid, I used to be a doorman at the same venue. It's not how we met. We were husband and wife at the time. And yeah, there was quite often somebody would get a little bit leery over the bar because my wife is happy and bubbly and should we say
Boobage.
Yeah, that's as far as I go with that. It's an adult channel. And somebody would make a comment over the bar and she'd say, I wouldn't because that's my husband over there. And Max Specials, yes. So
beat you.
Well, we used to do a fair bit of camping together. We used to have our adventures.
But now we've got this camping trailer, which Mike's got to do the review on.
What are our top 3 movies that we love? Oh, our top 3 movies.
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner, yeah. The original Blade Runner.
Kelly's Heroes.
Kelly's Heroes for me. The other one's got a big joint on it. Blade Runner for Kaz. Kelly's Heroes for me. Oh, cool, blimey. Third one. There's so many to choose from. See, I like sci-fi. I like anything with action. I like anything with adventure. But I do like a good plot and a good storyline behind it. Yeah, Kaz will have a think on that. She'll, because I'm useless at remembering movies. I'll watch a movie. Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yes, 1, 2, and 3.
Any of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Yes, I'm a big kid. I do like Guardians of the Galaxy. Combination of music and a comic book from my youth.
Oh yeah, Saving Grace.
Saving Grace. Yeah, that's another cracker. Saving Grace Mac as well. Yeah, so yeah, me and Marvel. See, I was lucky as a kid in the UK. Where I spent most of my childhood, we had an American air base very near us. And so we used to get given comics. So that was a handy. So I got to read a lot of the American comics before they ever became popular over here. Young Frankenstein, yeah, got to go with that. That's a good one. On the beach.
My friend's daughter.
Not seen it, but
my friend's daughter starred in that with Leonardo DiCaprio.
No, that was a different one. That was the beach. Yeah. On the beach. Right, let me make a note of that. On the beach. On the beach.
Meaning of life, yes. Oh yeah, Where Eagles Dare. Yeah, you got to love a Clint Eastwood film.
Yeah. Classic. Yeah. How many movies? What movies would you like to see remade that were Platoon? Yeah, it's now a classic. Star Wars, Guns of Navarone, Godfather. Yeah.
True Grit.
Yeah. You'd like to see remade, but with today's technology and ability. Okay. Which ones would you like to see? Bear in mind, I'm not taking away from the classics, but can you imagine John Wayne with the ability today, with all the CGI, with all the graphics and that? Meaning of life. Yeah. Yeah, can't bet Python. Gotta go with that. Gotta agree with that. Blazing Saddles. Now there's another cracking film. Yeah. All right, Mac. Does anybody out there that ever sees a documentary called The Mercenaries? That's not me, Mac, and a couple of other people. Bride of Dracula.
Yep.
Yeah. Harold and Maude.
Batteries not included.
Batteries not included.
Yeah. You remember that one? Really?
Any Fawlty Towers. Any of the Fawlty Towers. Wild Geese.
Yeah. I've seen that for years.
Yeah. Classic film. Yeah. Mac, I knew it. Really? I've been waiting for Debbie to come up. Okay. Yeah. Johnny Five. Yeah. Got a yes for Wild Geese. Yeah. So there's a classic. Any Which Way But Loose.
Big Trouble in a Little Corner. I'm with you, Law. I love that thing.
Yeah.
Yes, I've met Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, Kaz met Guy Ritchie. Yeah.
Phil Jones. Phil Collins.
I'll be honest with you, Derek. That would have to be a private conversation. Work in the past. Yeah, I've met a few. Let's put it that way. I've met a few. Work. Enemy at the Gates. Cracking film. Roger that, mate. Yeah, you understand the situation there. Clientele confidentiality, shall we put it that way? Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty much like that for us, isn't it, Matt? It's pretty much like who haven't we met and worked for? Hunted, that's another cracker. Uh, so, yeah. Buster, yeah, loved it. Phil Collins, Caroline knew him very, very well. Yeah.
And his Canadian wife.
Jill. Yeah. That was a long time ago, wasn't it, sweet? Long time ago.
Eons.
Shaving Ryan's privates.
Jungle Burger.
If we're going to go down that road, it's yeah. Yeah. Hey. Yeah. Some strange old cinematography in the 70s and 80s, I can tell you now. Yeah. All right. If it was denatured alcohol all the way, mate. Yeah.
Dog Soldiers, yes.
Yeah. Dog Soldiers, cracking film.
Best werewolf film I've seen.
New record off the rails and bringing on minutes. Excellent. Right, so yeah. Right, so you got yourself denatured alcohol. Yeah, that's the cleanest. I've also heard that bioethanols. Okay, and I've used it myself. That works well. So that's another good spirit, and obviously methylated spirit. Methylated spirit is what they were originally developed for. Back in, we're talking sort of late 1800s, early 1900s. Methylated spirits was produced, and that was for use in lamps. It was used in early engines. It was basically a good high quality spirit. Convoy for Phil. Yeah, it's another good classic.
Smoking the Bandit.
Free campsites. No, we've seen in the UK. We're pretty much. It's a difficult one. So there are places you can camp wild and free in the UK. They're fairly limited. But then, when I say that, what I have to remember, especially when I'm talking to my friends in Australia and America, who will travel 8, 9, 10, 12 hours to go to a national park, forest, to go camping, fishing, hunting, so forth. We moan about it in the UK. Oh, it's not fair. We haven't got the same. But I can travel to Scotland from here, and there are plenty of places in Scotland where I can wild camp, and that is pretty much. Well, Mac could probably bear me out on this. 10 hours. Okay. I can head. In fact, not even that. Actually, if I'm heading to the lowlands and just over the border, I can probably do that in 6 hours, 7 hours. I can go down to the West Country from here, and in 4 hours I can be on Dartmoor, Bodmin Moor, Exmoor, any one of those. Other than that, most of the camping is going to be on private property with permission, or a public campsite where you're going to pay a fee. It's privately owned. And a lot of those are very organised in the UK, very regimented. If you want a good giggle, whenever I think of a UK campsite, I think of the film Carry On Camping. So any of you that are in America, in Australia and all the rest of it have never seen one of the Carry On films, right? Watch Carry On Camping and you'll get an idea of what camping can be like in the UK. Yeah. Again, East Sussex UK campsite. Not come across it, lawn mice. Again, a lot of what I do tends to be based off of what I've got private wise here, and getting out a little bit further afield. Like
I'm hoping to do that.
I get into
Now we've
Wales.
got the trailer.
But
more
now we've got the trailer
adventures.
almost finished, and that will be another video for you guys. So, as you're aware, you don't want to say? No. So, as you're aware, my darling wife has developed some quite severe disabilities in recent years. She had a fall and it triggered arthritis, which has hit every major joint in her body and her hands, which has made it very, very difficult for her to walk, stand for any length of time, and quite limiting in her movement. So we progressed, and we got her a mobility scooter, got her a better mobility scooter than that, and she was missing getting out and camping. And a very, 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 very dear and good friend of mine, Pete, an absolute brilliant horse box builder, turned around and said, look, come on, we'll build you a camper. And when we talked about it, what we came up with was a small camper to go behind the Land Rover, which was literally to give us a double bed off the ground where she could be comfortable and out of the weather conditions. It has a side-mounted kitchen system on it with a pull-out awning. And in the front, which was the biggest priority, was a garage that we could drive a mobility scooter into. Okay. And it's taken, well, it took him sort of 6 months to get it finished, wasn't it? And I'm finishing off bits and pieces like the electrics and that. But I'm going to do a video on that. And we will be going out in September. We're doing a journey down to my neck of the woods, back down to Cornwall, and visiting a steam rally. There's a question for you. I'm going down there to be a camp at a steam rally. If you guys would be interested, we'll do a video from down there as well, and you can see what I would call it, a traditional UK village fair comes steam rally, and that is all about. Yeah, if you're wild camping, okay, wild camping, just you just got to be careful, okay. I wild camp, and I know the risks, and I take the risks, and I'm very careful about risks. What I have found over the years, if I am caught wild camping, 9 times out of 10, it's how you've set up and how you've organised yourself, and how you deal with being caught out. One of the ones, my usual, and it's an excuse. It's not a good excuse, but it's an excuse, okay? And that is, all right, mate, I'm doing a long distance hike. I'm not going to be able to make it to my campsite. And make sure you know where the nearest 10 miles down the road campsite is. I'm not going to make it there. So I've just pulled off here, and I'm crashing here for the night because I'm absolutely exhausted. Where I said, I'll leave no mess. I've not lit an open fire, as you can see. I'm behaving. Where I said, it's all you can do. And 9 times out of 10, people are like, all right, mate, not a problem. Just make sure that you don't leave any fucking mess and you're gone in the morning. And that's the downside of wild camping. See, wild camping is, I keep hearing from these wild campers, yeah, arrive late, leave early. I'm camping, I want to enjoy it. I want to relax. I don't want to be worrying about getting caught. You know, I know for some that's what it's about. It's the adrenaline. It's the risk of doing it and the risk of getting caught. Personally, I'm there to just chillax. It's not something I want to get into trouble for. But again, yeah, I've done it and I've enjoyed it. So yeah, so that's our difficulty wild camping in the UK. It's not as easy. However, again, as I say, you know, for some of you guys in the States, it's not as easy as people think. They think you can just literally go wander out and stick up a tent anywhere you want. From what I've gathered speaking to people, no, there are areas where you definitely cannot camp, or you would not want to camp. There are other areas where, yeah, it's acceptable, you can, and it's legitimate for you to do it. However, sometimes means travelling distance. And that's the difference in the UK, and this is one of the things I have to point out to people. In the United Kingdom, I can drive from my house here, I am 50 miles off the south coast, and I can drive to the absolute north coast, and I can do it in under 24 hours. Okay, so that's the full length of the UK. Beach camping in the UK, some places you'll get away with it, some places you won't. Okay, and again, it's down to the risk you'll take. I know a lot of guys, especially down in the West Country, do the Southwest Path, and they camp as they go, and they don't get an issue. They don't have an issue. Again, I think part of it is down to how you've set up. If you
leave no trace,
if you need no trace, you got a tidy camp, you set up well, you're organised well. Most people just literally will take it that you're there. I do have a friend that just every time he gets asked about his wild camp, he goes, "I'm night fishing." Okay, and that's what he'll do. It's, "I'm night fishing, mate." It's as simple as that. I've got another guy. I'm wildlife watching. Yeah, all right. I've got a tent and the rest of it, but I'm here to watch wildlife. I'm not camping. That one. Hang on. Yeah. Oh. Aye. Homemade sheaf. Right. That. Okay, that axe, you can tell by the pitting and that. Doing metal testing on it and that. I believe somewhere around 1930s, 1940s, obviously the handle's been replaced. And I bought that off of a gentleman who goes around the UK buying up old tools. And he buys up old garden tools, bill hooks like you've seen back there and that. And he gives them a bit of a clean up and then he sells them. So what did we pay for that one?
That was 20.
Yeah, that was £20.
It was and 5 for mine.
Being that it's old steel, it's absolutely beautiful. Holds an edge lovely. It's obviously hardened down here, and it's quite a soft steel back here, which absorbs the shock nicely. It's quite a light axe. There's not a lot of weight to it, but with the length of handle, you can get a fair drive behind it. But you can also then shrink down and do fine work, carving work, and I've even done a little bit of leather work with it. And again, it's something I see quite often. I see people buying very, very expensive axes. I did a video a while back on axes, and it's not necessarily how much you spend on the axe, it's finding the axe that suits you. If you've got a lot of upper body strength, okay, and a lot of stamina, then a heavy axe will suit you because you will have the power to wield it without burning yourself out.
I believe we've got 3. We've got the 4 axes and a bill hook for £50.
Yeah. So I got 2. With the same guy, I bought 2 axes, bought that small hatchet for Kaz, and the 2 bill hooks that you see up on the wall there. So again, you find an axe that suits you. It's a case of try them out. I mean, from the one I recommend to a lot of people. When I first saw them, when they first came out, I thought, they're going to be pants. But I've actually changed my attitude to it, and that's the Fiskars. Quite an affordable axe, holds a lovely edge. It's very well designed. It splits as well as it will carve. Okay, so it makes a very, very good. If you're looking for a light camping forest axe, okay, yeah, I would have bought no longer than that for myself, so 4 arms length, because I can get a relatively good swing on it. When you drop down smaller to gain the same amount of cutting ability on that, or as I have on that, out of that, which again you see is a lot shorter handle. And this one was given to me by my younger son when he left to go to the Czech Republic, because I don't think they would allow him to take it on the flight. And that one is a hand-forged Swedish axe, very similar to the Gransfors Brooks. And to get the same amount of cutting power out of this as I do on the Fiskars, it's had to have a heavier head on it. Okay, so again, the energy when I'm working it to control it, it's all here. That's where it's coming into play. So I'm feeling a strain there. So as you come forward, if you have to break it, that's where you're going to get the shock loaded on the human body. Whereas on this one, it's longer, it's lighter. In actual fact, it's a lot easier for me to control. So although I love a good Swedish handmade axe, and you're not going to get much better, don't be fooled into going out and spending an absolute fortune on them, because it's fine what suits you. And I like to find old tools. I like second-hand old tools that I can clean up and use. Right, let's catch up with this.
My one is so I can throw it as well.
Time in reconnaissance cells and wasted. Yep, Mac always. No, sorry, Trace, we were all sorted in the trailer. But I do appreciate the thought. Lee, Bronze axe for a quid. Yeah, see, exactly. Got an axe for a quid. Can't go wrong with that. You cannot go wrong with that. And again, you can buy axes for pennies. Gardens, yard sales, garden sales, that sort of thing. People clearing out their shed. Quite often they'll look at something that's a bit rusty and go, yeah, that's how it's done, I'll buy a new one. And it can be something that's 20, 30, 40, 50 years old, and the steel is going to be so much better. Okay, so the difference between the infantry kit and the cadet kit is purely size. It is purely size. The cadet Bergen was made smaller and lighter, but it's exactly the same design. It was just made smaller. In actual fact, I would say to you, it depends how much you're carrying. Okay, so I've got a long back Bergen, 120 litre, with all the pouches and all the rest of it. How often do I use it? Not very often. Okay. Personally, I prefer something, if I'm carrying loads, 60 to 80 litres maximum for me. Okay. The other thing is framing. You've got to find a frame that fits you. So a lot of guys sort of run out and they go, yeah, I can buy that and it will do the job. But go to an army surplus store. Any good army surplus store is going to carry them and say, right, I'm interested. I'm either going to buy this or that. What have you got? Can I try it on and give it a go? And don't just be stuck with the British kit. Quite often you'll see German kit in there, Swiss kit. Give that a try as well, because you've got to find what fits you. No two bodies are the same. The long back Bergen for me, I find it's a bit of a pain in the arse because the shoulder straps, but I take something like the bag you see up there, which is the Combat Medics, Combat Medics pack. Okay, which was, it's a lot of people don't like because it's got a wooden back in it. It's quite firm, but it fits me and I feel comfortable in it. Bug out locations. So what options do you see for a bug out location? Okay, when you need to move away and cannot come back home.
Well, it's good to have one though, Lee. It's in there, even if it is in the shed.
I have a couple of bug out locations. Okay. And I look at environment. So I'll get into this. In the UK, a lot of people say in the event that they had to bug out and head for the wilds of the UK, they'd head for Scotland, they'd head for the Highlands of Scotland, which is fine. But you're going to find a lot of people up there. You also have to bear in mind that it's a tough environment. It's a very tough. This is yeah, the winters can be goddamn awful. If you're on the west coast, not so bad. You've got the Gulf Stream, but also you have a lot of other people heading that way as well. Me, I'm heading to the west coast of England because the wind is predominantly from the west. Okay, which is going to be bringing air across the Atlantic. Okay, now if it's contaminated air, is a chance for it to get better. It's a chance for the contaminants to be dropped on the sea. So that makes it better for me. The west coast of England usually has a milder climate. I say usually, it could be windier and wetter, but usually has a milder climate. So that makes the winters a little bit easier to deal with. And when you get into some of the little hidden vales and valleys of North Devon, Cornwall, even into Somerset and Dorset, up into Wales, Herefordshire. Yeah, there's plenty of little places that you can hide away. Okay, you're going to look at resources you're bugging out. Okay, if you're bugging out and never coming back, you're gonna have to learn to live on the land. You're gonna have to learn an agrarian lifestyle. In a lot of the movie scenarios, they forget the fact that you see the guys are scavenging and they're scavenging. Well, very early on in those sort of situations, you're going to be rounding up things that are stood in fields mooing because they're hungry. You're going to be rounding up the things that go in bar. You're going to be looking for the goats. You can take milk from a sheep, okay? So you're not looking at them necessarily purely as a meat source, but you're looking at going back. And something I always say to people, when you're talking about bugging out and you're talking about end of day scenarios, okay, forget what you see on the movies, step back 200 years, step back 250 years, step back 400 years, okay, step back before the Industrial Revolution, step back before electricity, before gas, right? How did people survive then? That's the mindset you want to get, okay? This thing of running off into the woods and purely just living off the woods and hunting and that, it's, if you're in a very game rich environment and nobody else is up there doing it, yes, you have a reasonable chance, but it ain't going to be easy, especially if you're on your own. You're going to get lonely and you only need to get sick once. But if you go into an agrarian society, i.e., you bug out, you head out, and you start looking at pretty much small holding. Okay, you look at rounding up chicken, you look at blowing up livestock. It's going to make life a lot easier to survive. Yeah, have hand tools that aren't electric. I mean, I've got hand augers and all sorts. Okay, but it's the old technologies that will pull us through. Good point, Matt. Good point. So, no, exactly that. Keep your preps hidden. You know, so you take me in Kaz's situation. Okay. Now, so if it's if it becomes, say we had to bug out from here, say, scenario, there's no power, there's no electricity, there's no fuel, there's no, I'm not going to be able to use a motorized vehicle. Okay. How do I get me and Kaz away from here? Well, there's only one way. Horse. I can ride. Okay. Kaz can ride. Okay. Neither of us has done it in a few years, but the technology, the ability is there. I can also drive a car. Something I was taught years and years ago. So again, go back there. Bicycles, perfect transport. Silent. Right? Japanese army moved hundreds and hundreds of miles like lightning, fast and efficient on nothing more than bicycles. Okay, silent, easy repaired, little to go wrong. So again, drop back to old technologies. How would you carry yourself in a bug out situation is another one I get asked quite regularly. Do you stay completely covert? Yeah, German snipers use them. Yeah, rivers, canals is another option. Okay, so it's and a river, rivers and canals. So there's a great situation. So you take a canal boat. Okay, it used to be moved by horse. Okay, it could be towed for miles. Okay, that's how they did it. Shifted great loads. Okay, now if you're a bit concerned, you can moor up in the middle of the river on a canal because there's probably going to be nobody else using it. Okay, now it might not be a particularly big river or canal, it might not be particularly deep, but it's going to be harder for somebody to approach you. How do you carry yourself in that situation? Do you look like Mr. I've got everything on my back and I'm plodding along and I'm not really a threat? Do you carry yourself as I've got everything with me? Fuck off or I'll blow your brains out. Do you carry yourself silently, stealthily in the background, moving slightly further because you're staying covert and not being seen by anybody? Which, you know,
Oh, terrier.
Yorkshire Terriers. I tell you what, don't you knock a Yorkie Terrier. They're courageous little things. I once did a security job and I turned up and I took Jack Russell with me. And the guy that was in charge of the place where I turned up, he looked at the dog and he looked at me and he went, "What's that?" I said, "It's a guard dog." And he looked back at me and he went, "But it's tiny." And I said, "Yeah, it's tiny." I said, "I only need the dog to tell me when there's somebody there, and then I will deal with them. That's as simple as that. The dog is my eyes and my ears."
Yeah, cats can be
Yeah.
horses.
Cats can. Carol's quite right. Cats can be very, very territorial. Yeah. Yeah. So another great tip: power lines. Follow power lines. All right. So the other thing is look online and look for military maps. Okay, especially pilots' maps. Right. Even civilian pilots' maps. They have what they call overlay on them, and they will give you all the power lines. Okay. They show all the power lines wherever you are, and they show the heights of the power lines. So again, an absolutely brilliant reference for navigation. Okay, because these things you'll see, especially in the UK. I don't know about everywhere else. I don't know about the States if you have the same bloody great tall pylons that we do, travel for hundreds of miles. But again, anything like that as a navigation aid. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Is so your situation for your bugging out and bugging in. So initially I'd bug in. I got enough resources to keep myself going. I'd bug in. I'd let all the panickers go and do their panicking. I'd let them all go and run around like headless chickens. Okay, and then I'd decide what I'm going to do. Okay, the initial 10 to 14 days of panic is when the worst violence and the worst and people's going to come out. Then it will go a bit quieter. It'll never be perfect, but it'll go a bit quieter. So you've got two choices: bug in and build a community. Right? That's my personal view to it. Is you need people around you. You need people you can trust. You need people that you know that if you have to act, will act. You need to know that those people will take their fair share, do their fair share. I always say to people that say to me they're going to go solo, well, at some point you've got to sleep. And I know from my own experience, when you're in a dodgy old position and there's a high threat, it's very difficult to rest. And if you can't get that rest, your mental state becomes affected. Your ability to think, your ability to act, the paranoia, it all get worse and worse and worse. So just by having one or maybe two or maybe even a handful of people around you that can help you through just your mental state, just by talking things through, being able to say to somebody, "Right, I'm going to go down and have a look there. You guys keep an eye on the kit." Okay, that sort of security is absolutely worth it. It's weight in gold. The fact that you can then rest, right? You can put your head down to sleep, knowing you've got people on stag, you've got people watching out. You've got somebody, if it's a survival situation, you've got somebody maintaining the fire, keeping the heat up. You're not going to fall asleep, the fire go out, and you'll sleep deepen through hypothermia, never to wake up. Skills, skills through the roof. And again, in a team, so you can have more skills in a team. You have more physical ability in a team. I'm not saying everybody needs to be super fit, super strong, but you know, if you've got somebody that's a medic in your team, if you've got somebody that's a bit of a boffin, can work out how to build things, make things, brilliant. If you've got a builder, okay, one of the skill sets that's always overlooked, you know, people say medic, you know, fucking survivalist, combat, builder, right? Good builders, somebody who knows how to put beams together, and knows how to build a wall, knows how to put a structure together that's going to be strong and supportive. Absolutely brilliant to have.
The right sorts of wood.
Yeah.
What not, you know.
Yeah, foresters, hunters, trackers, anything like that. And there's no such thing as a bad skill. All skills worth having. As we said last week, you know, Jace is a chef. Have a chef with you. Have somebody who can take the most mediocre and grotty ingredients and make something that's going to be something that you'll enjoy. Be able to process game. Yeah. Blacksmiths will rule blacksmith. All right, so yeah, don't stop me on about blacksmithing. Blacksmith, the original magical art. Okay. The original wizard. The guy that first made stone into metal. Okay. It was kept as a magical, mystical art passed from father to son. Blacksmiths were honoured. They were always held in high esteem. And any village, even up to just a few years ago, any village with a blacksmith held their blacksmith in super high esteem, because anything you needed, he could make. Whether it be tools, whether it be bracketry, whether it be gearing, whatever it was, he made it. Okay, so there. But Saturn, you have to think the other way. So, if it drops to a situation, excuse me, sitting like this, it's not a bit ungentlemanly, but I've got rotten backache. If you are in a bug out situation, there is no longer a rule of law. Okay. Your average private landowner is probably going to be too busy trying to protect his big house. Okay. So basically, where you start with that, my advice to you, start there. If you want to start looking for a bug out location, get yourself an ordnance survey map of your area and start looking. Look for the areas that are secluded. Now, another thing you do, and a very good friend of mine did it a few years back, and he kept it to himself. He wouldn't share it, but he went on the right. He started with ordnance survey, then he went to the land registry, and he was finding plots of land in the UK, in the south of England. Some of them were only a few acres, but they were no longer owned by anybody. They weren't private property. They weren't council. They weren't public land. They were at some time private property, and then many years ago, for whatever reason, they either the landowner died or it just fell into disuse and become unregistered land. Okay, nobody owns that. Now you can't just tip up and suddenly go, "I own it." But what he did was he found a plot of land. He looked into the law, he fenced it, and he kept it fenced and recorded that fence for several years. And then he went to the land registry and said, "That's my land. For the last 2 years, I've been on that land. It's been fenced. I've kept it private. It's posted with notes saying, you know, this is my land. He said, nobody's contacted me, nobody's claimed it. And he ended up with that piece of land being signed over to him. Yeah. Yeah.
Can't rely on mains water.
Yeah, can't rely on mains water, especially here in the UK. I don't know about any of my friends abroad, but oh, Jesus Christ. Right, one of the problems we've had in the last 30, 40 years in the UK is everything got privatised into private companies and nobody's invested in infrastructure. Our water mains are in a dire state. Our sewage system's absolutely fucking dire. Power is absolutely no worries, mate. Power infrastructure is just so out of date. It's ridiculous, and of course, none of the shareholders want to put the money in to improve it. So yeah, we get issues here every summer. We get water mains bursting. We get pipes going every winter when it freezes. There's pipes bursting. They just replaced a gas main outside my house here. And chatting to the guys there, they were saying that the old main and that was 40 years beyond its service date. Yeah, so what can you do? Don't trust and rely on the infrastructure. Always have a get you by. Always have something to back yourself up. And if it looks bad, treat it as bad. Sterilise it, purify it. Okay. Yeah, water boil alerts. Yeah. So what I'd do if I was you, John, I wouldn't just be boiling it. I mean, boiling it is the ultimate sterilisation. That takes out any viruses and that. But I'd also filter it, mate. Filter it, then boil it. If you haven't got any on filter-wise, just go for a simple off-the-shelf charcoal filter. Any good quality charcoal filter, the ones made by Britax and that, they're pretty good. They would take out a lot of minerals and chemicals. So if a pollutant does make it into the water course, because everybody always thinks, oh, boil it's fine. But they forget boiling it doesn't always take away minerals and chemicals. Some of those can actually go to a higher temperature state than the water itself when it's boiling. So by chucking it through a filter first, you're going to take those out as well. Yeah, making filters. Oh, you can improvise filters so many different ways. I mean, I always come back to the fact that a good Britax water filter will beat most things and will get you by. And again, these little plastic water jug filters. Okay, if you go for the charcoal ones, get a charcoal one, get a large bag, cut a corner out, slide the filter into the corner so that it's a tight fits, the bag fits around the filter. A bit of duct tape around that, hang the bag up, put your water in that, filter it through that. You can filter litres and litres and litres and litres, not a problem at all. And then go to boiling afterwards. Yeah. Defense is critical. Okay. And that defense has got to be based on the reality of your threat. So in the UK, there is gun ownership, but it is fairly limited. Okay. Those people in the UK with guns are definitely in the minority. The type of guns we can own and possess in the UK are, on the legal point of view, tend to be more hunting and sporting orientated. Okay, so for me, trying to conceal my shotgun is what I've got. So I would go the other way, bear in mind that the majority of people I'm going to come across aren't going to be armed. So yeah, I would be open carrying with the blatant instruction to them, leave me the fuck alone. Okay. If you're in a country where there's a lot of handguns, and I'm not saying there aren't handguns in the UK. There are legally owned handguns in the UK. So if I see a guy coming out of the side street and he's got a handgun, he's probably going to be a threat. Okay, and I would treat it accordingly. If you're in a country that has a lot of guns, then the guns and the defence situation racks up a bit more for you. Okay, now I'm not saying that gun ownership is bad, because I'm the opposite. I actually would rather see more guns. Okay, but I do like our UK licensing system. So again, your defence, your best form of defence really is, if you can, avoid contact. Keep your contact only to those you know you can trust. But if you do have to go into a threat situation and there is no way of avoiding it, the oldest military rule, right? Strike hard and with speed. Use aggression and speed as your tool. Okay. Yeah. But no, you use what you've got. Use your tools. Charcoal powder and fish tanks. So I've not come across that. So I take it again. Charcoal is one of the best filters that you can get. So they obviously supply that in bulk for doing the filters on fish tanks. So again, it's another resource that's worth having in your kit. It's worth buying, sticking in the box. Oh, and tonight I'm trying something different. I'm sitting a bit further away. Hopefully the microphone is picking me up okay, because I'm usually right up against the screen, so just sitting back a bit.
Why come down?
Yeah, yeah, and so again, martial arts, any discipline, but you again, it's something I come back to on my courses. Is don't Right, martial arts are fantastic. Boxing's fantastic. MMA, all these fighting sports are fantastic, right? But at the end of the day, they are all based around rules and combat in a controlled situation. Take what you learn from it, right, and then use it. Take the rules away, right? Bend the rules. If it's a genuine survival situation, you're attacked by an aggressor who you know means you harm. Speed and aggression, and use everything you've got. Focus it. Okay. If you have martial arts which have taught you to control, they've taught you to punch and the rest of it, right? Rack that control up, take it off, right? Don't hold back, let it go. Okay. Use the skill and the ability to put your punches where you need it and keep you on your feet. But switch off that bit of you that says, you know, look at that, and forget about the rules. Yeah. You go for the soft bits, always the soft bits.
Max says you should make a batch of charcoal.
Yeah, well, that's a good idea, Matt. We'll do some charcoal. I'll show you how to make activated charcoal. It's not a hard process. It's a little bit long-winded, but we'll do some improvised charcoal making in the next few weeks. Takes a while, and again, it's an ancient art, but we'll get into doing that. Oh. Yeah, Lee Enfield. Yeah, beautiful rifle. Yeah, I've used the Mark IV. I've also used the Jungle Carbine. Jungle Carbine kicked like a twat. And I had a friend who had a Longley Metford, which was his father's Boer War rifle, and that was beautiful to shoot. Absolutely beautiful, like silk. Carbon sheets, yeah. Stick fighting. See, there you go. Going back 200-300 years ago, travellers in Europe walked with staffs. Okay, staff helps you with support. It helps you to check ground in front of you. And if you are attacked by an animal or a person, It's a distance weapon. It adds, if you normally take a staff as just below your height, so you take me a 5'9", that's a 5 foot staff. Okay, that 5 foot staff, right, on top of my arm, which is what, 2 feet, 2.5 feet of practical distance. Okay, I've now got a 7 foot reach. So unless your guy or your animal coming near you's got arms that are 7 feet long or longer, okay, I've got something that keeps them at bay. Okay, simple as that. Simple as that. Yeah. 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 Charcoal production. And again, getting back to what John was saying, shooting. Okay, if you have a firearm, if it was a genuine law and order has gone absolutely to shit and people are killing one another in the streets and you've got a firearm, use it as a defensive weapon, bear in mind people are going to want to take that from you. Okay, so again, the old rule: don't be the aggressor, be the sneaky one, be the sniper, be the one they can't see, be the one that's away. Get yourself away. Get those in you up out of that situation. Avoid contact or avoid conflict before it need arise. You're always better off avoiding the situation than actually having to face the situation out. Archery. There's another good tool, good survival piece of equipment. You know. Yeah, Dan. Hey, Dan.
Evening, son.
Yeah, slingshot and a handful of nuts. Okay, who's nuts? Yeah. Okay, slingshot ammunition. Okay. Yeah. Do your ball bearings run out? Go to nuts. Go to nuts and bolts, or just the nuts. Yeah, copper beam poles and hazel.
Dan made his own crossbow, didn't you, Dan?
Yeah. Dan made a medieval style crossbow. Yeah, think like a lion. Yeah, avoid if you were in a genuine bug out situation, survival situation, avoid the conflict, avoid the crowds, avoid the situations. Get yourself, if it's a bug out, get yourself away where all you've got to worry about is yourself, your shelter. You can have enough in a bug out scenario to think about. You've already got to think about shelter, fire, food, water, medical situations. When I say medical situations, I mean everyday medical situations. If you're in a wilderness survival situation or a bug out survival situation, there's no electricity, there's no gas, there's no hospital, there's no doctor, there's no pharmacies anymore. Okay, one of your priorities is going to be health. You're going to treat the smallest cut and abrasion needs to be sorted and sorted straight away. Blisters, damage, strains. You strain a muscle, you strain a tendon. Oh, I can keep going, I can keep going, I can keep going. Within a couple of days, you are absolutely crippled. So avoid the conflict, avoid those situations, concentrate on what's really going to be your priority. Get yourself away from every problem that you could face in a bug out or survival situation that you can remove yourself from, right? Gives you more time to concentrate on those things that you really need to. So if you can avoid people, you can avoid conflict, you can concentrate on your health more, you can concentrate on your shelter more, you can concentrate on your fire making more, you can concentrate on your food more, and so on. And you can grow your situation and your survivability. Okay. By being somebody that's going to want to go into a conflict situation, you're reducing your ability. And bear in mind, I'd rather leave all the nutcases out there scrapping amongst themselves, robbing, stealing, beating one another, because for every single one of them that is taken out the equation, right, is up in my gene pool survival ability. Stop, think, act. Yeah. Yeah, broken bone. And again, because you're going back 200 or 300 years. Okay, and you take what we've learned in the last 200 or 300 years. Yeah, be there to pick up their kit after they've done themselves. Exactly that. Scavenge. Okay, and I say scavenge, not salvage. Right, scavenge. Right. Look at
It's all right, some months is bad.
Yeah, look at the animals that survive in the animal kingdom in difficult situations. They are the scavengers, the ones that can just stay in the distance and they nip in, pick up what they need, and they go. Okay, it's that sort of mindset, and you're gonna need that mindset for probably the first year or two. Oh, the best fights are when you're watching the drunks fight. When you're stood there on the door and you're watching two old fellas in the street, right, giving it hell, and they're not just dancing around one another. You get, there's not a single blow that actually connects. Okay, it's a lot of noise. It's a lot of chest puffing. There's a lot of kicking and punches thrown, but nothing ever actually makes it in. And you just stand there. Those are the ones I had a couple of old boys that used to regularly go at one another, and they'd fight for 10, 15 minutes till they're exhausted, then go sit down with one another and drink together. But they would never actually, there's not a single blow ever made it onto the other one. But just to give you 10 minutes and a long night's work, we sit there and go, oh, they're at it again, are they? Better keep an eye on them just in case. Yeah. I see. Dan's got a lot of knowledge when it comes to that sort of thing, because Dan did a lot with medieval reenactment. He also did a lot with the Viking reenactment as well, didn't he? And Dan, my son, is a chap like me. He loves history and he loves the practical skills of that time.
He made his own chainmail.
Yeah, he made his own chainmail and all sorts. And again, those skills are still there. We can still use them. The technologies are still there. We can still use them. It's just that we modern world has removed us from them, but the information is still there. With a little bit of thought and practice, you can go back to it. Making your own tops and waterproofing your own tops. Okay, so our ancestors had to do it with animal fats and oils, tars that they would extract from things like silver birch. But today, you can gain access to silicas and silicon. Right, so you can waterproof a tarp dead easy. You can literally put it in a washing machine, wash it, and waterproof it. Okay, a cotton sheet can be turned into an absolutely fantastic waterproof tarp. So all those skill sets are there, all the abilities are there. Some of the technologies and some of the access to equipment and chemicals and tools that our ancestors wouldn't have had are there for us and are improved. A modern axe, okay, in some ways is finer than an axe of 600-700 years ago. So yeah, I'll go with that, Dan. Always be prepared to ditch what you got. Tallow sheets, yeah.
It's also when you're going out to find stuff that people have left behind, pick up the stuff that they just it's too easy for them. Yeah. You take the easy stuff and then you leave the.
Well, that's the other thing, isn't it? It's more about mindset than skill set's brilliant. It's mindset. It's being able to see things and think, oh, I can make use of that. Oh, I can pick that up. I can take that with me. I'm testing this jerky out. Jack Links.
Is it like in shoe leather?
No, it's not too bad, actually. A little bit salty.
The other one's hot and spicy.
Hot and spicy. Building your kit and adapting your kit, finding the technology that works for you. Like I said, it's all out there. It's all been done before. My advice to anybody that really is interested in survival prepping, sit yourself down and think about it practically. How did our ancestors get by before all the stuff we have now? All the prepping is always based about the end of electricity, the end of power, the end of fuels, the end of civilization. It's not the end of civilization. There are plenty of societies living out there in the world today that have access to any of these things and they get by fine.
Like our ancestors used to turn bone and antlers into axes, knives, pins, fishing hooks.
Yeah. Yeah, don't get dead. And the most common reason you'll get dead is health and illness. Okay, when you practically think about it, you're already going to be avoiding situations, you're avoiding other people, or you're going to be armed, or you're going to be able to defend yourself. It's always the things that you least expect. It's that splinter that turns septic and gives you sepsis. Okay, kills you in 24 hours. It's that polluted water source. Okay, it's that bit of food that you found that's gone bad, but it smelled all right. I thought I need to. That insect bite, that broken bone, climbing over a wall, twisting your ankle, breaking your ankle. It's just the little things that will take you out.
Depends.
Yeah, Krav Maga. It's a good art. Came from Israel. IDF developed it. So there's no rules. Basically, the art of killing.
I wonder if migration or nomad would be best.
Migration and nomadic skills. Well, Dan, he knows all I do. Look at the nomadic societies. You look at the migratory nomads, the Mongols, the Sami, a lot of the indigenous First Nation Americans. Yeah, it was based on migrating with their sources, with their resources, and also to avoid various climates as the weather changed. So they'd have their pastures and that existed on a slightly smaller scale. Even today, when you go up onto the York Moors and that, and you see how the sheep are managed, how they're moved to different pastures for different climates and different times of year, and that's you just take it to the next level. If the weather in the area you're in does not suit your survivability, move.
Yeah, I've seen that one about the bear, the edge.
Trying to try things out, yeah. Yeah, and again, eventually you're going to look at building society, aren't you? So we're all talking about bugging out. Bugging out is short term. Okay, it doesn't matter how you look at it short term. You can only carry a small amount of kit, and you can only go so far. But eventually you're going to have to build your society, and you'll be driven to do it. You'll want to do it. You'll have enough of being alone. We crave companionship as human beings. So then you're going to want to go back, build your society. Then you're going to want the farmer. You're going to want the chippy, the carpenter, not the blacksmith. You're going to want the guy that's capable of keeping the peace amongst everybody. You'll want, and society then grows back up again. It comes back. trappers. Trapping is a great skill. Great skill. You know, at the end of the day, trapping and tracking. People always talk to me about hunting and about, you know, going stalking. The majority of the foxes that I've ever had to deal with have been trapped and then dispatched in a trap. Yeah, low energy, easy to check, easy to maintain. Yeah, there's you have to draw the line between the fantasy and the reality. You know, you're in a survival situation or a prepping or a bug out situation. So you can place your traps, and you can place your traps 10 miles from where you are. You can place your traps a distance from your community that people don't know you're there. Then you go out, you check your traps, and you know your traps, you know where they are. You harvest from your traps, you bring it back. Okay? So again, you can distance yourself from communities. But in being a trapper, you now, if you're a good trapper, you then have a trading commodity. Okay, so you start doing deals with other individuals or other communities. You might not necessarily know where you are based, but you become a trader, you become a trapper, you build up your trust in your society, you find your place. Eel traps, eel trap. Crayfish.
Crayfish.
Yeah. Crayfish, brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's not easy, but it's a skill and it's easily learned. Well, I say easily learned, it's easy to practice and to perfect your learning. I've been snaring, or I snared as a kid, rabbits, hares, foxes, squirrels. I built eel traps as a kid. Okay, and your first few might not work. Invariably, it's just learning how to position, where to position, and the other thing, funny enough, is being patient. A lot of people put traps out for things and think, right, yeah, tonight we'll catch something. Invariably, you don't in the first 2 to 3 days because your scent's left there. You've disturbed that environment. You're just by your walking through it. Has alerted the wildlife to something's out of place, and then the fact that you've left something there that smells strongly or will smell strongly to them, it's out of place. It's something new. If you put you find a tree where you've got squirrels, go and put something in there that's not food based, and watch the squirrels avoid that. They'll avoid it for days, and then they'll start getting a little bit closer, but they'll still be wary, and a little bit closer, still aware, till eventually they're like, oh, what's that then? And then they'll just ignore it. So you have to allow the environment to adapt to your incursion. And whilst you're waiting for that to happen, there are things that you don't need to trap. Okay, you've got one of the highest protein sources in the world wriggling around in the ground below your feet. Okay, ain't pretty. I'm the first one to admit that. But worm bacon, it's a very small rasher, but it's a rasher. It's a very good protein source. So again, you go back to that. Pigeons, doves, and again,
Hedgehogs.
hedgehog, yeah. Although getting a hedgehog in the UK is getting quite rare now, isn't it?
It's hard. And frogs. We don't eat many frogs.
Well,
we just eat frogs' legs because French eat.
48-hour escape and evasion situation. So me and Mac are going to be covering a 48-hour escape and evasion situation at a later date. We're already discussing doing a video on that.
It's
so we will be doing a video on covering that subject. So I don't really want to go into that too much at the moment. Let me catch up. Yeah, natural instinct. That Lee Michael, defend your loved ones before yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, frog's legs.
No.
What about the rest of them?
See, yeah, coastline, God, brilliant salvaging, scavenging. Yeah. So you guys keep chatting amongst yourselves. I'm just catching up. And again, things like beekeepers. Oh, there's somebody who's going to. Well, if you could get inserted into one place and say it's a 40-hour escape and evasion situation, where would it be? Oh, 48 hours escape and evasion. That's anywhere in the world.
I'll eat insects. But not crop.
That's difficult. Where would I like to do a 48-hour escape and evasion? For the challenge of it, a 48-hour escape and evasion in a city, because it's not my element. For knowing that I can do it, probably, I would like to say jungle, but no, probably any temperate, forested situation. Yeah, a temperate forested situation. So I'm talking pretty much temperate climates. I'm talking the sort of the UK, Northern Europe. Yeah, that would go for me. I don't want to be in too hot a climate. Those sort of environments, I'm always going to be able to find water resources. They're environments I'm used to, and I can adapt to. Yeah. Sumatra Mountains in Czechia. Yeah, probably go with that, Dan. Would you eat insects? Yeah, nothing wrong with insects. Don't mind an insect.
Crunchy yet
yeah,
satisfying.
Crunchy yet satisfying. Yeah, crunchy on the outside, chewy in the middle, just like armadillos. Yeah, I've eaten insects. Yeah, got to be careful with frogs and toads, but yeah.
No, you never had anyone turn down your bug out bag. You friends and family.
Hey?
And said, have you ever encountered families or family you built a bug out bag for, and they said they weren't interested?
Yeah.
No, never had that.
No. Meeting of old friends, eh?
Everyone's been welcoming you.
Yeah. Practice. Don't limit yourself to one environment, one place.
Yeah, you got my.
That's why I did nettles this week. I mean, I've heard about it. I use nettles for food more than anything. So firelighting with nettles, and I gave it a go. And do you know what? I was bloody impressed. That the nettle dust wanted after an hour, and they went from fresh cut nettles in an hour. The dust that I extracted from that took a spot. Any spark, it would just start to smoulder. The fibres just needed a little bit longer to dry, and I'd have had a ready tinder there. So, again, and it's learned with that. So, always adapt, always learn, train for different environments. Don't just limit yourself to what you're comfortable with. Put yourself out there where you're not comfortable, but make sure that you've got the ability to deal with the situation. We don't often get long periods of snow in the south, but we have had in the past periods where it has been quite severe. So again, practice for it, train for it.
You know where you want like nettles so much? Cornish yarg. Cheese.
Yeah.
Nettle leaves on the outside.
Yeah. Always adapt. No, I'll be honest with you, Derek. I'm very lucky in the fact that most of my family are like-minded, and so I'm very blessed that way. However, I have had friends before now where I've said, "Oh, I'll do that for you," and they've gone, "Well, it's not my thing." Okay, just take it as is. You know, at the end of the day, you can only offer. I normally what I try and do is encourage people to build their own, like first aid kits. Get people building their first aid kits, but give them that first bit of information, which is that shop bought first aid kit, like that red one up on the wall there. You know, a good 35-40% of it you can throw away straight away, and then make the first aid kit a practical first aid kit.
We've eaten whale, haven't we?
Yeah, and whale, reindeer. In fact, it's not a lot we haven't eaten really at the end of the day. We're always happy to try
we went
something
to Norway and we had salami, and one was whale, one was reindeer, and there was elk.
Yeah.
And I was surprised. I thought the whale would be fishy, but it wasn't. It was nice salami, nice.
Yeah. Exactly, Dan. You can lead a war horse to water, but a pencil must be led.
You're getting it.
Yeah, croc turtle. Yeah, koala, snake. Yeah, mate. I've eaten all the same things you have, right? And I've eaten a few insects in my time. And I tell you what, they at the end of the, it's not that bad. Okay. It ain't pretty. It's not necessarily something you just, given a choice of steak or a handful of worms, I'll take the steak any day of the week. But if I can guarantee you, and I will promise you this, any one of you,
seagull pie.
If you're hungry enough, okay, if you're hungry enough, you are going to eat anything you can find. And that then becomes a risk because your starvation, the pain and the suffering that you come from truly being hungry and desperate can cause you to take some quite dodgy risks. Okay, take it from a man that once, in a quite a desperate situation, attempted to cook a rasher of bacon over a candle.
Lee, did it taste fishy? Seagull. Yeah.
Seagulls in the UK probably taste like diesel. Probably
or
would
stale
actually.
Fish and chips and Cornish pasties.
Yeah. Yeah, there is.
No, we don't get raccoons.
No raccoons in well, there are raccoons in the UK, but very far few between. But I would have thought it's going to be like a lot of other things. Probably a bit like badger or a cross between badger and ferret. So it's going to be quite a dark meat. And again, see the badger in the UK that used to be hunted as a meat source. Badger hams. They used to actually smoke the whole badger, cleaned and prepped, and obviously, but they would smoke it in a chimney the same as you smoke a ham. Yeah. Trash panda. Yeah. Yeah, I do love that. Good thinking, Dan. Yeah. Don't eat the raccoons. Teach them, show you where the food is.
It's the same as those fishermen
Yeah,
who train
and
the cormorants.
Again, you can work with nature. So where did the dog come from? Okay, where did the cat come from? They came out of animals that we learned to use and work alongside. It become a symbiotic relationship. Okay. The same thing with the domesticated animals. We learned to use them. We learned to use the horse. We learned to use the prior to the horse. We used the goat. We used, anything we could to ease our life, not just for a few source, but as a pack animal. Dogs have been used as pack animals. Goats have been used as pack animals. So again, you say about the raccoon. Well, if the raccoon's looking fat and happy, follow him. He's going to lead you to the food. Tasted a bit tangy, a little bit pukey, but add salt, not too bad. Yeah, follow the rats. Yeah. No. Right, this. Okay, so you don't want to eat carrion eaters. Okay, if you don't have to.
I know certain bears you can't eat.
Where you do. Cat's roof rabbit. Yeah. Animals that some animals you do have to be careful of. So if you've got, I know polar bear, and I think some of the larger bear species, you have to be aware of the liver. The proteins in that are too much for the human body to be able to handle. But again, the muscle meat of most animals is edible. Okay, carrion eaters can pick up disease and illnesses, and that can lead to you becoming ill. But the eating of badgers was quite common in the UK. I know of people that have eaten fox. I know of people that have eaten all sorts like that. I know there was a guy down in the West Country. Used to call him Mr. Roadkill, and he would literally anything. He would pick it up and eat it. Although the thing that threw me was watching him in an interview jump out of his car and run back to pick up this rabbit that had been clobbered, and he picked it up and felt it, and he said, "It's warm, so it's fresh." Okay, yeah, it doesn't always work like that. All birds are edible, yeah, but again, some of them don't taste so particularly nice, and you've got to be aware of carrion eaters. You've got to think what they're feeding on. Are they feeding on something that could potentially become a problem to yourself? If you've got, yeah, checking for liver fluke, exactly the same thing. And so, when in doubt, going back to surviving. So, when in doubt, okay, so you can take any meat from any living thing with it. No, saying that's wrong, because again, you get back to polar bear liver and so on. So you can take the muscle meat from almost any living animal, and a lot of these animals can carry parasites. Okay, tapeworm, liver fluke, that's quite common in the UK. So what do? Well, you cook it. You don't cook it over an open fire. You don't grill it. You don't fry it. You stew it. You cut it up. You throw it in a stew and you boil it. And you boil the absolute life from it. Okay. And in so doing, you sterilize it. You kill the parasite. You kill the eggs. You kill the larval stage. You sterilize the food. As much as you would sterilize water, you sterilize the meat. And then it makes it safe to eat. Yes, you do lose some of the vitamin content. Yes, you do lose some of the mineral content. Yes, you will lose some of the fat content. You will lose a lot of the flavour. However, you make it safe. So when in doubt, right, boil it out. Right, yeah, got TB and badgers.
about UK seals? I
Seals.
know they eat seals in other countries.
Yeah, you'd be able to eat seals. You've got the blubber on seals, so you've got very, very good fat source.
Also,
and-
wax, candle.
Yeah.
Wax.
So you can use the blubber as a heat source. You can then also extract the oil from it.
Mm.
Fungi with experience and knowledge. Yes, exactly, Dan. Absolutely fantastic plants to know. But again, you've got to know the plants, and you've got to make sure you absolutely know what you're eating. My advice to you is, when in doubt, chuck it out. As simple as that.
Give it to someone else.
or give it to the guy that's the least popular guy in the whole group. You've got to chicken in the
that
woods.
giant puffball you brought home that day. Jeez.
Yeah. See, Dan lives in the Czech Republic, and Dan's a good country lad. He's done a lot in forestry. He's an ex-shepherd. And he met Tessie, fell in love with Tessie, she's my daughter-in-law, and she is absolutely wonderful.
So they've got us to cooking.
And she's from the Czech Republic, but they have a culture of foraging for fungi, for mushrooms, and again, the knowledge is passed on. And she's absolutely brilliant. She can walk through a woods and she's, yeah, can eat that, can eat that, can eat that, can eat that. Don't touch that. Leave that alone. You know. Yeah, you're hungry enough, you'll try anything, and that's where you have to be very, 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 very difficult. Starvation will you've got to you've got to find that there's a line between what let's get this right. Try and think how I want to put this. There's a risk line. There's a graph, and there's the risk. Okay. On the top side of that risk, you've got surviving. On the bottom side, you've got death. And it's as simple as that. Okay. And you've got to work out how desperate you are, what risk is worth taking. Yeah, some in a tree barks, willows, silver birch. Tastes absolutely foul, bitter as anything. Fruits that ain't fruits. Yeah. No, haven't, mate. Unfortunately, not. Unfortunately, getting some of the I said the other day, getting some US kit over here, you do get it, but it's always so bloody expensive. And again, it's having contacts like yourself where you can say, well, this is a good bit of kit. Use this kit like this, or this bit of kit's a pants kit. You don't want to use it. The difficulty for us is, especially shopping online, is when you see stuff, you're like, is it going to be any good? And it means me stepping out 70 or 80 pounds that I can't really afford. John, shipping to the UK, it's fucking crazy prices both ways, mate. One tip I can give you, if you're shipping to the UK for friends and family, remember that the rules on UK duty are quite simple. If you're sending it as a gift or as a present, there's no duty to be paid on it. So when it gets to this end, what they tend to do is they'll open it up and have a look, and what they're looking for is a receipt, right, or an invoice. If they find an invoice or a receipt, then they will apply duty. I'm just going to have a look outside my window. Yeah, you bastard.
It was.
Cat in the forge. It's no longer in the forge. Bastard thing. So I've got pigeons, I've got chicks in the tree next to the window. Yeah, so if you send it to the UK, send anything to the UK to a friend or anything like that, take out any invoices or anything in it and give them a birthday message, and then they can't charge duty for it. Not that I would say that, I mean, they're not breaking any rules or regulations there, but what happens sometimes, and I've had it myself where I've had friends abroad, especially when I've been building a bike, and they've sent me a bit, but they just want me to have the invoice. They put the invoice in. It was a set of foot pegs. Okay, so they sent me a set of foot pegs from the States. Lovely set of foot pegs. But they put the invoice in there, and the invoice was for, I think it was $300. So not only did I have to pay the postage, but then I got a bill for a stupid amount of money for duty for it, and it was actually sent to me as a present. So, bit of a swine. Mate, if you're sending it as a present, it's not a problem. On the drum, I think it's down to the amount. You want to send me a single pouch of drum? Yeah, I haven't seen drum in years. And let me know what the postage be. Don't put it out of pocket. Yeah, you're right, Dan. Bloody cat's probably going to be in the forge. It's probably making a set of nunchucks and one tea bag. Yeah, it's legit, but you just got to make it obvious. And like I said, don't have any receipts or invoices in there, and pretty much send it as a birthday present or as a gift. That stops them from putting duty onto it. Simple as. What it's done is to stop importers. We had an issue in the UK about 30 years ago where a lot of guys were importing things like Harley Davidson engines and that because it was cheaper to buy the engine for a bike in the States and then import it into the UK than it was to try and buy it over here from a UK dealer. And so what the people were doing was they were just ordering them in, bringing them in, and of course they weren't paying duty on it. And so the government, it's not going to lose money, so it turned around and said no. And the only stipulation of the rules was if it was something that you didn't actually pay for, it was a gift or a present, you hadn't actually bought it, then you would not incur duty on it because it's a gift. And again, what they look for, and they do open it. They will open it in UK customs. They will X-ray it and they'll look at it and go, "Ooh, that looks expensive," and they'll open it up. And the first thing they're looking for is an invoice or receipt to you or to me, and then they will calculate the duty based on that costing, and I will pay the tax on it. But if it's sent as a gift, that's why I say invariably stick a note inside it: "Happy birthday, mate. Hope all is good," or "Happy Independence Day," or whatever you want. Right? Sent with all our love. Then no, they can't charge duty on it. Oh yeah, mixed toasties. Rabbit turns up St. Peter's Gate. There he is, gates of heaven. Speaker's there with his book. Looks up. There's a little rabbit sat there. "Hello, Rabbit. What are you doing here?" The rabbit says, "Oh, it's a hell of a story, St. Peter." He goes, "Well, what happened? You know, you're a rabbit. We give you speed, we give you ability, you can dig a hole. What happened?" He went, "Oh, it's terrible. I had a Monday, I had a cheese sandwich grilled. Tuesday, I had a bacon sandwich grilled. And I liked them both so much. On Wednesday, I combined them. And next thing is, I'm here." And so Peter looks down and says, "So what happened?" He says, "Well, I mixed them with toasties."
That's it.
Mixed them with toasties. What can we say?
Are you a silky or bacon?
Mm-hmm.
Derek was asking you about, are you a silky or a...
Oh, a silky or a backhoe. Right. I'm a silky man. Although I wasn't for years. For years, I would use pretty much any folding saw. I've had backhoe Laplanders, which I love, and don't get me wrong, brilliant saw. Budget, not even a budget saw, but they're a bloody good saw. You want a good folding saw, okay, and you can't budget for a big old silky. Get yourself a backhoe Laplander. That's the tool to have. My son Dan worked in as a tree surgeon, and he used silkies, and so the night, Phil, take it easy, mate. Sleep well, and I'll catch you through the week sometime. So he had a silky that he passed on to me, and it was a brilliant tool. I thoroughly loved it. That died the death after many years' use, and I went back to just buying cheap budget folding saws. I had a mentality that, I'll pay a £5 for that. If I use it 4 or 5 times, bend the blade or whatever, then it can go. And then about 6 months ago, I bought a silky big boy, and I've not looked back. If you can afford one, absolutely superb piece of equipment. Okay, absolutely brilliant. However, they are expensive. Okay, so it's work to what your budget is. Yeah, I have eaten rabbits with myxomatosis. Okay, so myxomatosis can't be passed on to the human. However, what you have to bear in mind is that rabbit is in dire states, and in its blindness and its deafness, it's feeding around itself. Its nutrition in its body is poor. Quite often, it will have picked up various parasites which will be rampaging through it. So again, cook it and cook it well. However, if there's nothing else to eat, yes, go to it. It ain't a pretty thing, and you also got the guilt-free moment that you're putting the animal out of its misery. I don't know if any of you guys in the States have come across myxomatosis. Back in the 50s, the rabbit population in the UK was absolutely through the roof, and so in desperation to control their numbers, the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Food at the time, they developed a biological weapon to unleash on the rabbit called myxomatosis. It's a virus, and it went through the rabbit population like a swine. Absolutely decimated them. The downside of it is it's a disease that doesn't kill the rabbit in a fair manner. It makes it blind and it makes it deaf. The rabbit can no longer protect itself. It can no longer feed properly. It loses its ability to even smell. So basically, you've got an animal stood in the darkness. It's minus all its senses, and eventually it dies of starvation. It's a hellish thing to do to anything. But the good news is the rabbits have come back. They've survived it. And how it worked was the rabbit warrens would become large, cover a large area. That would connect to another warren, and another warren. The disease would come through. The warrens would drop back, and a small group would survive. And as with any disease, there are those with immunity, and they bred. And slowly, with time, there are rabbits that are developing an immunity to myxomatosis. They get it. It does leave them scarred. Some of them do end up looking a bit balder and a bit manky, but they're surviving it. They're breeding, and every generation that breeds and survives it breeds a stronger genetic ability to survive it. And eventually, what will happen is the rabbits will come back with a vengeance, purely and simply because their bodies will develop a defense against the disease. And as with us and the common cold, we're not affected by the common cold other than a few sniffles and all the rest of it. But there are populations throughout the world that, when we visited them in the 1700s and 1800s, wiped them out. Same thing with chicken pox and smallpox and measles. Seen as quite a minor illness here. and in other countries, absolutely wipe people out. I carry a sewing kit. Always worth having a sewing kit. Even if it's just a small, tiny one. Yeah, 2 needles. A tool I do use now is dental floss. I find that works really, really well for emergency repairs and almost anything, including the odd suture. And the nice thing is, it tastes minty as well.
It's like the stuff they use for plucking eyebrows out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's adapt your kit, isn't it? Adapt your kit, adapt your supplies, adapt your environment, and it's about you adapting, taking things that you can use. And super glue, always super glue. Yeah, can't go wrong with a bit of super glue.
I got cable ties in my bag.
Hmm?
I got cable ties in my.
Yeah, Kaz always carries a few cable ties.
Just in case.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's fishing line. Use fishing line for sutures. Sewed my leg up with cotton when that got slashed open. Yeah. And I had to do that with a straight needle. That was a pain in the arse. So again, always keep a small curved needle. Burns now. That's something that deserves a whole chat on its own, doesn't it? Burns. You've got to be so careful.
Honey.
Yeah, burns. Yeah, what I say about burns is get it cold, keep it cold, get it clean, keep it clean. Simple as. Yeah. Honey's a great treatment for burns. What I don't want to do is give people bad advice here, but basically my go-to, if you've got a burn, get it cool. And I mean, get it cool. Don't. And a lot of people just a couple of minutes under the tap. Yeah, that feels okay now. No, that's not enough. Yeah, that burn's gone deep. You've got to get it cool. Cover it with cling film. Seal it from the air. Okay, if you haven't got cling film, use whatever you can find. Seal it from the air. Yeah, honey and red wine. Yeah, put the honey on. Drink the red wine. Stops you fucking feeling the burn. Excuse my language.
Good hat, yes.
Yeah,
Dan.
good hats. Good hat is essential.
A good berry.
Yeah, you see me wearing hats all the time. It's
I didn't read that right. I thought Lee puts it got a burn patch in my bum. I didn't read the bag bit. Need the glasses.
Lee Michael, that made Caroline chuckle. She read that wrong. She read that as got a burn patch on my bum. Sitting there giggling away to herself. I wouldn't put mustard on a burn because it's an irritant agent. Okay. I would cover with aluminium foil. Okay. But obviously getting it cool first. But I don't know about putting mustard. Jar of honey. One of the things I carry. I was actually sorting out my kit for this week, so I can get these. And basically, if you look, most of the first aid kits you can actually get a designated burns first aid kit, and you'll get a whole stack of these and the little ones. And what it'll do, this burn gel Okay, so you put it on a burn and it cools the burn. It also seals the burn. It prevents the air getting to it. It prevents bacteria. It helps reduce the effect of infection. It's non-adherent. It minimises the trauma. So yeah. So what does it say? What does it say? Let me have a look at this. I'm just seeing what the active ingredient is in it. Excuse me, put my other glasses on. Best form of treatment for burns is running under clean, tepid water for 20 minutes, then apply the burn soothe dressing. If access to water is not available, apply the burn soothe dressing immediately. Okay. Doesn't actually tell you what's in it. But again, that's what it's meant for. And pretty much, yeah. So Germany, France, Denmark, Finland, Netherlands, Italy. Don't know where that one is. Poland, Estonia, South America, and Asia. So yeah, it's got translations for all those countries. So yeah, so burn. It's just down as burn soothe gel. You get it in first aid kits, and you can buy designated burns kits, which is what I've done there. I bought a designated burns kit, which comes in a whole stacks of these of different sizes, and I've then metered them out into my various first aid kits. My really small first aid kits just have a little simple one like that, which is literally, that moment that I've burnt myself, buggering about with the fire, doing some fire prep or something like that. It's usually a small burn on my finger. If it's that uncomfortable, I've got that to treat it with. Invariably, what I'll do is cool it down in my water, have a look at it. If it's not broken the skin and that, I leave it alone. I'll let it air dry. Same thing when I'm in the forge, which is the main reason why I've got burns dressings, is the injuries that you can sustain in there are very, very fast and invariably very deep. So you've got to be able to treat it, and the treatment there is straight away. Tattoo numbing cream, yeah.
It's hard to get those sometimes.
Yeah, it can be. I don't know what it's called now.
I'll try getting some.
It's a local anaesthetic, topical anaesthetic. So topical means you put it on the surface of the skin and it works in that area. But again, your biggest risk with any burn is the infection. Cayenne, yeah, I've been looking into this cayenne pepper. Yeah, quite impressed with that.
It's like turmeric, isn't it? There's another one.
Yeah, well, again, a lot of the herbs and spices have many uses, don't they? Some make very good analgesia as well. Small tin of salt, pepper, and herbs. Yeah, damn. If you're going to have a survival kit, make it a survival kit that makes you happy and comfy. Tabasco, mini bottle of Tabasco. Right, guys. Anyhow, so we're rolling on. So that's 2 hours, 18 minutes, and 7 seconds. Right. It does coagulate. Yeah, I've been reading up on it as an anticoagulant or as a coagulant. Yeah, cayenne. But as Jay said the other day, if you take something like corn flour, which you use as a thickening agent, yeah, fishing line and a hook, you can also use that for putting stitches in, sutures.
I forget yourself some turmeric from my pack.
Yeah, no need to survive. Yeah, you've got to enjoy the food. You've got to make things pleasant. TX. Yeah. I can't remember the numbing agent we used to use. Yeah, I'm going to call it quits now, Dan, as well.
Good night, son.
We're at 2 hours, 20 minutes. And I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Where's it gone tonight? Whiz by, isn't it? It's whiz by. You want to come and say good night to everybody? No? That's all right. You don't have to. They all understand.
Oops. Right, everyone, I'm saying good night.
Right, guys. Who do I love watching in the survival community? Oh, God, blimey. Dave Canterbury, he's a good guy. Nick Goldsmith, Lofty Wiseman.
That Canadian one.
Yeah, Greg Ovens.
Greg Ovens.
He's a good guy. Good night, mate. Greg Ovens, I thoroughly enjoy. There's a good guy if you want to live out in the bush. And I like his videos, quite down to earth. You know, he shows as it is, which is what I try and do. If it goes wrong, it goes wrong. If it goes right, it goes right. Anyhow, guys, I've got to call it quits. So I've got to be up at 4:30 in the morning. So, look, wherever you are in this world, have a great and wonderful time. Have your adventures. Take it easy. Stay safe. Okay. Yeah. And other than that, just have a great time. Have a great time. The video, like I say, I do apologise. It's a bit long-winded. It's a bit basic. I was extremely knackered and under the weather when I made it on Saturday. That will be up for you guys on Thursday. If I get the opportunity to chuck a short out this week, I'll chuck a couple of shorts out, but my time is very, very, very limited this week. I will definitely be online next Sunday, normal time, 2000 hours. So, guys, take it easy. Remember, as we always say, love those you do, forgive those you don't. They're not worth worrying about otherwise. So, forgive those you do. Love those you do, forgive those you don't. And as always, peace and light be upon you all. Guys, have an absolutely wonderful week wherever you are. Stay safe, have your adventures, have fun, right? And I'll catch you next week.
Okay? Cheers, thanks very much for the welcoming and make me feel a bit less conscious.
Thank you for welcoming my wife on board. It's made her feel a lot less self-conscious, and she's thoroughly enjoyed chatting to you all in the background. And yeah, you never know, might be able to get a bit more on screen in future. Might be the two of us sat next to one another here. Anyhow, take care, have a great week. Guys, please like, subscribe, share, and pop over, have a look at the Hampshire Hog Hunters on Facebook. Yeah. Chuck them your details, become a member, share your information with them, share what you know. Okay. You never know. There's all sorts of people out there that are new to this, that I'm not saying don't know what they're doing, well. But you're helping them out. Kaz is on there. You'll bump into Kaz, and you'll obviously catch Mac from Hampshire Hog Hunters. Share your stories. People put pictures up and all sorts. And for those of you with channels, come over to Hampshire Hog Hunters, because from there you'll get shared out. Okay, might get you some more subscribers, some more views. Anyhow, I've got to go. I need a cup of tea, a shower, get my kit sorted. Guys, be good. Take care. This is Mickey. Mickey out.